Hey guys, it's Soralum1 and welcome to my Kingdom Hearts 3 Flantastic 7 guide. The 7 Regal Flan are special Heartless that appear in each Disney world but 100 Acre Wood, and offer a minigame to play, similar to the Kingdom Hearts 2 Final Mix Mushroom 13 Heartless. Each of them has a high score requirement to beat, and if you get all 7 high scores, you'll earn yourself an Orichalcum Plus, important for later synthesizing the Ultima weapon. In this video, I'm going to show you the 7 locations and strategies for you to easily get a high score on each one and make this an absolute cakewalk. Alright, fine, let's just start. For our first flan, start at the Thebes Outlook in Olympus and head way up the stairs. At the top, in a secluded area, you'll find our cherry flan. This one can get pretty frustrating for people. The goal is to ride on Goofy's shield and collect as many little flan as possible before the time runs out. Every time you get hit here, you lose speed, and if you get hit way too much, the game ends early. It is a mostly linear course, but here's what I would say are the most important tips to getting a good score. Get the speed boost on the right in the beginning to catch all the flan on this jump. I know it's scary, but use speed boost arrows to turn when you can. They help position you perfectly. In the garden, you need to be over a certain speed to not be bothered by these holes in the ground. Get into the habit of going around these holes regardless. Later into the course, you'll come to this crossing after the gardens with a forward and a right path. It is super important that you aim yourself to hit the forward speed boost, but none of the turn ones. This little pathway here I'd say is a big way to increase your score. Get in there. There's also this one turn when entering the town with speed boosts on the right and one flan on the left. Now you might be thinking, these speed boosts are backwards, so they are designed to waste time when you're actually just supposed to go to the left. Take that, game designers. Sure, I was like that too at first, but we're actually playing 4D chess here, so go past the backward speed boosts without touching them, and you'll be led to the fountain area with tons of flan. Be careful with the speed boost here because you need to aim yourself to be in a perfectly straight line after, but there's so many flan here that it may not even matter if you mess up. After that, you'll be in the final area of the town. If you're still looking for more points, going up this staircase will put you up a decent amount, and the rest of the collecting here is pretty obvious. I know I emphasize certain speed boosts, but speed isn't that important, it's only half the game. Like I showed you earlier, the real winners of this game are the ones who pick the right spots to get to hidden areas with lots of flan. You could be going 4 miles an hour but be in one of the special areas and end up ballin' by the end. If you ever feel like you've messed up way too much, remember you can always pause the game and quickly hit this retry button to start again. Well, sort of quickly, I guess. After a bit of trial and error and trying to get to the areas I've shown, you should be able to hit over 20k points no problem. Once your score is high enough, you'll learn Form Change Extender and get some sour cherries. For our next one, land in Toy Box at the rest area of Galaxy Toys. You'll find the cherry flan right in front of the vending machines. This one is probably the easiest one to get the high score on out of all 7. You slide in a teacup and try to pick up and stack as many flan as possible. Avoid the ones riding strawberries cause they'll knock some of your tower down. Same thing with hitting walls. The strategy here is to just start humble, only collect some on the ground, and then when your tower is tall enough, start targeting the ones flying in balloons. After your score gets high enough, your tower gets so big that you can't even fit under any of the areas with a second floor above them, or any flan you collect will just refuse to stack. Once you're above 17,000, which is the score requirement, I kinda just like to hang around at the starting area here, since it makes it easier to keep my tower high and the giant strawberries away from me. Once you beat that high score and end the game, you'll learn Attraction Extender and get some strawberries for the road. For the next flan, go to Kingdom of Corona and land at the tower. Turn around and go into the cave, and right when you come out of the other side, you'll find the flan. This is the orange flan, and I think it's probably the funniest and my favorite one. The goal of this game is to take pictures of the various flan at the perfect moment to score an excellent. If you time your snap wrong, you'll only get a good, which automatically ruins your chances of getting a high score. So if you get this, might as well pause and hit retry. Also, please do not hit the flan, you'll just make them angry and cause them to leave. There are several different flan that appear in this game, most with different animations that have different perfect shots. There are a few generic ones though that repeat. This is the generic big boy. He walks back and forth, and you need to wait for him to strike a pose to get an excellent for 1700 points. This is the generic small boy. They walk around, and I feel like they take a little longer to strike their pose, but snap an excellent during the pose and you got yourself 3300 points. Then we have a couple of them that only appear as a crown at first. Wait for them to pop up from underground to snap an excellent with varying scores. And then there are the flying ones, which are trying to get up to the butterfly. Snap a picture of them at the apex of their height. You can usually tell when it stops moving vertically to get an excellent for varying scores. All the others are not generic, and they usually give a higher score for being unique. So this game is a game of patience, but also a math problem. You see, you could get 7 excellents and still not make the high score because you photographed a bunch of generic ones. Don't worry, I did all the math for you, and out of the 17 flan I know of in this minigame, I've calculated a route for you to get the highest possible score, and I'll walk you through it step by step. Starting the minigame, turn around and look right in front of the entrance to the cave. There will be a crown in the ground. Snap a picture of this one when it emerges to score 4000 points. Second, turn around from there and walk forward to the left until you see this cliff way up high. Stand in a good spot and aim at the top. Be patient and flan will start to come out. Wait for all 5 of them to come out and pose to get an excellent, and you'll earn 7200 points. Our third one is really hidden. Look on the small hill to the left of where you are, and you need to look really closely for a tiny flan. I promise you he's here somewhere. Ah, there he is. It's a small boy, so it'll probably take a while to pose, but once he does, snap a picture for an excellent 3300 points. After that, turn around and run to the left while looking up in the trees. There will be 2 flan waiting up there. Aim your camera on them and wait. They'll jump down and turn into a dessert. Snap a picture of the dessert for 5000 points. Next, run forward to the right. Skip this generic flan and go all the way up the hill. There will be a group of 5 flan planning to turn around and dab or something. Do not be fooled by this one. Sometimes not all of them will come out for the pose, and sometimes all of them will come out, but not all of them will actually do the pose. Don't take a picture until all 5 of them come out and are posing. Every time I do it, they finally get it right on their 3rd try. And once you do, you'll earn 6000 points. Next, turn around and head back to the starting area. There will be some rocks you can jump over to the right that lead to a cave. This flan will jump out and pose for you, but skip him. He doesn't give us enough points. Go into the cave and find another small boy inside. They always like to take their time, but take a picture when he finally poses for a nice 3300 points. For our last one, turn around and head out of the cave and keep to the right. Eventually, you can turn this corner and find a flan with some animals trying to be a Disney princess. Wait until it strikes a pose with the rabbit on its head and a bird in each hand to earn 5400 points, putting our final score at a great 34,200 points, more than enough. When it ends, you'll learn the treasure magnet ability and get a few blood oranges. For the banana flan, land in Monstropolis at the basement. Go in the white door to the right, and then at the end of the room take the brown door on the far left. Turn around once you enter this area and you'll find our next flan to challenge. For this one, you have to kill as many of the little flan as possible while avoiding getting eaten by the big one. Pretty simple, right? On lower difficulties, many people would recommend getting the Thunder Cufflink from the chest after the boss area in this world and to spam Thundaga. And that definitely works if you have the MP for it. But if you're playing on critical mode, it's a little tough to do more than a few spells. So I got a strategy that might be even better than the Thunder one. Start the minigame and then use the King's Flare Link. Simba can just run over the babies and kill them very easily. Oh, yeah, right. Even though you have a link out, you can still get eaten, so that is a problem. To avoid this, after using the link, keep using Firaga Leap with the jump button to avoid the attacks better while stomping on the little ones. Just be aware it's not 100% foolproof, but you shouldn't have much trouble with getting eaten with this way. While doing this, I want you to keep a very close eye on the timer for the finish. When it's starting to get to the very end, press the attack button to make Firaga roar your last attack, and press triangle right after to use the finish situation command during that animation. The finish is very important. Now, you might say, well, this kinda sucks, the link only got me around 10,000 points, but just wait. After the finish, these burn marks on the floor will continue to kill the incoming flan over and over and over again, and you can just dodge around and relax while your score skyrockets. After you make it over 20,000 points, you're free to end the minigame by getting eaten if you want, or see how high you can go by swiping at enemies and wall jumping against the poles and attacking to hope to get the buzzsaw attack. Once it's over and you got the high score, you'll learn Grand Magic Extender and get a handful of bananas. For the Grape Flan, land in Arendelle at the North Mountain Mountain Ridge. Once you're there, jump off the cliff to the left of Elsa's castle to free fall to this area with the flan. For this one, I recommend putting the regular Blizzard spell on your shortcuts, not Blizzaga. None of that. Normal Blizzard so you use less MP. That's especially useful for critical mode's poor MP bar. Also, if you have the DLC Keyblade Midnight Blue, go ahead and equip that for a possible Blizzaza situation command. Besides that, I mean, you're gonna need the guard ability equipped, and I like to remove the aerial dodge ability so I can move more freely on the battlefield with air slides. Once you got all that, you're ready to start. For this minigame, the goal is to defeat as many flan as possible. Simple, right? Well, if you're on critical level 1 like me, you do garbage damage. Besides, they didn't really make this minigame with you whittling down their HP in mind. Blizzard is the key to everything here. Start the minigame, and when they're all floating up, use the Blizzard spell to freeze them. And anytime a flan is frozen, they will be defeated with one strike of any attack. So use Blizzard on as many as you can for this intro segment and take them out. Once the beginning is over, the flan will start attacking. You can keep using the Blizzard if you want, but this is where I start going on the defensive because things will get really hectic. Stand in a corner of the arena and wait for them to spit this purple goo at you. If you guard it, the spell will be reflected back to them and freeze them. It also leaves behind a rail that you can grind on, but personally I find this rail gets in the way of my movement needs. You also can't guard or cast Blizzard while grinding, and accidentally touching these things for me can get... When you do successfully guard an attack and see a flan get frozen, it's really good to air step to them by holding R1 and then pressing square. And then once you get there, just attack them once. One quick but really important tip if you want to do this, if you block a spell, do not start aiming at them with R1 until after the flan is frozen. If you do it while the spell is traveling back, you'll slow down the environment around you, but you won't slow down the timer at the top. This wastes your time on the clock, so wait until it is frozen and then do a quick air step for the kill. The goal for this minigame is to get over 20,000 points before the timer hits 0. Once you got it, you'll be rewarded with the Unison Blizzard ability and some grapes. Our next flan is the Honeydew flan. Don't tell anyone, but I don't even know what a honeydew is. But to get to this one, land at the City South District Night in Sanfransokyo. Once you're here, look on your map for this circular building. That's where we have to go. Run up the John's Fashion Center building behind you, and then you'll be able to see it and air step there. There's no special abilities or equipment to put on for this flan since it restricts your control a lot, so feel free to just start the game. The goal of this minigame is to keep Sora bouncing and not let him touch the ground for as many jumps as possible. It is pretty straightforward, but here are a couple tips. When you bounce off of a flan, it'll begin to... I thought they were crying, but apparently this is it trying to eat you. When one of them is in this state, you can't go for a second bounce, so keep hopping to a different flan each time. Once the baby is done with its temper tantrum, it will begin to sparkle and glow. The sparkles are the prize in this game. Bounce on a sparkling flan to be sent to a fresh new area. The way I try to maximize my score is to start from a flan in one of the corners of the building, and then just make my way around in a circle. I do all this while keeping an eye out for any sparkling flan to make my escape after I bounced on them all. It's a little riskier to bounce on them all before moving on because there's more chance for failure, but I found that the extra score it adds helps out with your mental state. You've got to remember though, Sora cannot air slide, glide, air step, anything during this minigame. It's pure analog stick movement, which is why I said you need to be planning each jump carefully. And don't get too greedy with long distances or you'll find yourself falling on the floor and failing. Last thing to take note of is once you get bouncing high enough, for me it's usually after my score goes above 12,000, Sora will start to go into free fall mode and completely change how your control feels when aiming for a flan. You might have to get used to it at first, but as long as you're prepared for the change, you should be able to adapt and still land where you planned. Practice is key. Once your score is above 15,000, you're all good to stop if you wish and earn yourself the attraction extender and some melons. Our final flan in this video is the watermelon flan. You can find this one by going to the Caribbean and landing at Port Royal Fort. Walk into the courtyard and you'll find the watermelon flan right there in the center. For this minigame, all I recommend in terms of abilities is to take off the aerial dodge ability and have as many air slides equipped as possible. Aerial dodge heavily limits your air mobility, so we need it gone. You might also want to remove the wall kick ability so you don't accidentally bump into the wall while moving. It isn't likely, but yeah, it could happen. The goal of this game is to shoot all of the incoming flan with your cannons. If a flan ever makes it all the way to you, it ends the game early. The way I see it is, you should almost never be running around normally. If you need to switch from two cannons right next to each other, dodge roll. If you need to cross the area with the bell, air slide by quickly tapping jump and then pressing square left or right. Not running alone saves you a lot of time here. Also, be careful of the depth perception when the flan are first spawning in. From far away, sometimes it's easy to go for the wrong cannon and miss a shot. If you ever are in a situation where you need to shoot down more than one flan in a row, do not mash your combo on the cannon. These cannons aren't rapid fire, and it's better to work around their cooldown by attacking only once, waiting, and then starting a new combo attack again. This will very cleanly take care of more than one flan in a row. Every once in a while, a big flan will appear going side to side. Killing this one will kill all of the flan on the field and give you a big score boost. Coincidentally, this bell will begin to sparkle every once in a while, allowing you to actually rapid fire all 4 cannons for once. Attack the bell whenever the giant flan is flying around, and 9 times out of 10 you'll hit it and get that score bonus while clearing the air. In general, you always want to save the bell for the big one. Yes, it's possible to hit the big flan with a normal cannon shot, but it's not worth the effort when the bell exists. This one overall isn't too hard. After the time is up, if you have over 29,000 points, you got a high enough score for this challenge and will learn Focus Siphon. And since this is the final one, you'll also score yourself the rewards for beating all 7 and the Orichalcum Plus. Well guys, that'll be it for this guide. I hope you enjoyed it, and if it helps even one person, that's good enough for me. I've been Soralum1, and until the next video, I'll catch you guys later.